So I have always been interested about bridging the gap between Africans or people of African descent and the motherland, Africa, the African continent, right? I've always been interested about bridging that gap. In fact, in the past, I've done panel discussions where people come together, Africans and African Americans come together to talk about that disparities we have, right? And I'm doing another one again in January. But anyhow, when I came across this article, it was moving, because Africans are starting to see that they themselves contributed to the fact that they enslaved their own people, right? So this to me is a great way for us to begin to have a healthy conversation surrounding bridging that gap, right? So Benin Republic is based in West Africa, and it is one of the West African countries that is granting citizenships to people who are of African descent, right? So the way you can get a citizenship is it's either you can prove through your DNA testing, or you can provide authenticated testimonial or any kind of records to show that you are from any part of West Africa. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be from Benin Republic. And so, and they have the procedures that would eventually grant you a citizenship of that country, Benin Republic. So this is quite incredible. So Benin is one of the countries doing this. I know that Ghana also started this as well. And it's remarkable because, when I started reading and understanding the enslavement of Black people, or the enslavement of Africans, it broke my heart. It was one of those heartbreaking moments, because you start to see that in different parts of West Africa, there were different ports where these slaves or enslaved people were shipped off, right? Benin has its own port. Nigeria, where I grew up, we used to go to the beach, right? And that beach, there's several of them. I think the one that we were going to was Badagry Beach. And that bridge was also another port where enslaved people were shipped off as well. I know there's one in Ghana as well, Cape Coast Castle. There's also another one in Senegal. So all of these different countries contributed greatly to the enslavement of Africans and the African people. So not only are we to blame the white people, but we ourselves, our ancestors also played a part in this too. So it is good that Benin, along with other countries in West Africa, are trying to reckon with the fact that they themselves contributed to the enslavement of their own people. So it's a great way to do this. It creates this healthy conversation. It promotes a healthy movement, because we are all parts of it. So let's all find a way to solve it, right? I read a book years ago called Homegoing by Agassi. If you haven't seen this book, if you haven't read this book, please pick a copy and read it. It was a great book, and it was one of those books that opened me up to the fact that yes, we were all contributed to it. That blaming the white person or just blaming a white man or white people isn't the way to go. Africans too contributed to this, right? They sold people to the British people, they sold it to the French people, they sold it to Portuguese, they sold people to Portuguese as well. So let's all come together to start to do the cleanup. I do want to thank you all for watching. If you like this article, or if you want me to cover any other stories, you can always send me a message, right? But my name is Emoitinya. I'm a visual storyteller who happens to be visually impaired. I love to take down articles like these, break it down so you and I can learn. Now, for example, with this article, I didn't know that the first enslaved Africans landed in the US 1619. That to me was shocking indeed, right? But these are the things that you find out when you cover these type of stories. But thank you all for watching. Happy holidays to you and your family, and stay connected.